guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do a tag today. I was tagged by Sean the Book Maniac to do the Finally Fall book tag. I did this last year, but he said to go ahead and do it if you've done it before. So I will link down below Tall Tales, who originally created it, Sean's video, as well as my own video from last year. So anyway, so let's just get into this. Question number 1 is, in fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. So I'm going to go with The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. I read this earlier this year, and just the place where it happens, and even when we get into London, the one part is out in the country by the ocean. I believe it's the ocean. So my brain freezes as I do this, but I really enjoyed it. It was very atmospheric of the house, as well that where the Moonstone is stolen, and then later in town. And it was just, I thought the settings were all really good in this, and the water, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the water, and the beach was very spooky. Question number 2 is, nature is beautiful and also dying. Name a book beautifully written, but also deals with a heavy topic like loss and grief. And the only one I could think of this year that I've read was Tin Man by Sarah Whitman. And I really enjoyed this book. This is definitely a book on my I want to reread next year, just to see how I react to it this time around. Again, it does deal with relationships between a man and a childhood friend, as well as after when the main character is married, and it kind of talks about loss and grief, and and then growing up, and it was really, I described that really horribly, but it was so beautiful, and I do want to reread it to see how I react another time, because I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I still read it too fast, and but I did enjoy it, and I really want to get back and read that one again. Question number 3 is, fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. So I'm going to show my favorite one so far this year, and that is Chernobyl Prayer by Lavanya Allahkova. And this book is on the Chernobyl disaster and its aftermath. And I have read another one of her books as well now, and I love her oral history style. Mostly it's the people in telling their story, and some of them could be as short as a paragraph to pages long. I learned so much about what happened there and what is still happening there. It was so powerful to me because it was stuff that, you know, I remember when it happened, but again, I'm on the other side of the globe. I only saw the aftermath and a couple of things, and I looked at a book my friend had of, you know, had pictures 20 years later and how things had grown over and stuff, which was really fascinating. But it was really hard-hitting to hear about the people there and what they went through and what they're still going through if they live in the area. So I really enjoyed that and learned a lot of stuff. Question number 4 is, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people you love. Name a fictional family, household, friend group that you'd like to be a part of. So I had a really hard try choosing this. I was trying to choose something different than I did last time, because of course I picked one of Nicolas sings. So I picked another romance series, but this one is more contemporary, or, you know, modern day, whatever. This is Maya Banks, the KGI series, and these are just, again, I love these books, but the family group of this is, it starts with a family is kind of like the core, who have this kind of a militant group that helps with like kidnappings and hostage situations and other things. They are all ex-military, and so there's a lot of action in here. It has a lot of I just like the dynamic of the teams that, first the family that's the core, the Kelly family, which is the center of it, and then all the people who work for them in these groups that go out and help other people. And then there's always, you know, there's always the action and adventure, but it's the family, they all look out for each other, and even when there are issues, they work through them. And I love the series so much. But it's mostly that group, just they are so connected, and I really like that. So number 5, the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall colored spines. So I got a group, oops. we go, of 5. So I got the reds and oranges and yellows, kind of yellowish orange. So the first book is Winter Sea by Suzanne, historical fiction. I love her writing in the way that she usually does a dual timeline. So there's the past and the present, and there's kind of a little fantastical element to it. And this is, again, one of the first books I read of hers, so I still has a special place in my heart because of the storyline and the characters in it. So I really do like it. It has to do with the Jacobi invasion, I think. And in was it Scotland? Oh my gosh, yes, Scotland. Sorry, it's been a little bit. So anyway, I really like that. One of my favorite books of this year, On the Beach by Neville Shute. Again, this is a post-apocalyptic book. When it was published like in the 50s, and it's like supposed to be like just a few years later, where all humanity is pretty much dying and there's only people left in Australia. And it's as the wave of the fallout is coming and how they deal with it and stuff. I really enjoyed this book, and I'm looking forward to reading more by him. But this cover has green kind of going into red. I thought that was close enough. I don't know. The only book in this stack that I have not read, which is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Marotta. So I want to read this pretty soon. It's about a woman who is kind of stagnant in her job, and she's fine with that, being a convenience store woman, or working at a convenience store, and how everybody else is not. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. I happened, because it's just bright yellow, and I didn't want to put Tin Man back in there. So, The Mortal Tally by Sam Sykes. This is book 2 in the Bring Down Heaven trilogy. I need to get back to the series and finish the last one, but this one has a nice orange spine on it. Great epic fantasy. Hilarious people who do stupid things, but it's funny. I mean, but it also gets so dark and gritty. So I love that this is all over the place, but you do get to laugh every once in a while. But the ending of this was so, oh my gosh, what happened, that I really need to read the next book. But anyway, awesome epic fantasy to me. I like them. And then another fantasy is Kings of the Wild by Nicolas Eames. One of my favorite books of last year. Bright red spine. And I just read the companion novel to this, so I really enjoy this series. And if you're looking for something, like, again, this one has to do with old guys who have to come back out of retirement to go save one of their daughters who has become a mercenary, who's being is kind of trapped by a horde of creatures. And so it's so funny because they're older, they're out of their prime, and this world has it where the mercenaries are like the rock stars of their world. So their name Saga is big, everybody knows it, but then they look at them like, man, you're old. It's so funny. I just love this book, and I love Clay Cooper is one of my favorite characters now of all time. Just his just all together. So I just love him. Anyway, sorry. Let's not go on about those. Question number 6 is, fall is a perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein someone is telling a story. Two Like the Lightning and, Seven Surrenders and The Will to Battle, that series. There's a 4th book coming out pretty soon, I'm hoping. I haven't seen it yet, but Ada Palmer's Terra Ignota series, I believe, is told from the perspective of Mycroft Canner, who tells you in the very beginning not really to trust him. And this is one of the best examples of an unreliable narrator that I enjoyed, because I don't usually. But I really enjoy these books, and he's telling the story, so it's his written account of what happened and what other people did. And it's a futuristic world where people they're not countries, there are hives, like I think there's 7, and that they everybody is usually joined to one of them, or they're not, but those are their family groups and their work groups and how they do all their business and stuff. So it's a little different setup, and this is kind of like the destruction of what was probably supposed to be a utopian society, which is not. I love that series. I can't wait for the last book. 7. The nights are getting darker. Name a dark, creepy read. I'm gonna go with The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. This was, I haven't read this in a long time, so I'm only going off of what I remember. I remember being creeped out by this because it didn't go in ways I thought it would, and it was, I thought it was written in a way that it was very spooky to me. I don't know. It's been a while though, I admit. I should really reread that. Number 8, The Days Are Getting Colder. Should I describe what that book is about? A guy who goes back to his old house and where some bad things happened when he was a kid, and he's kind of dealing with the aftermath of that. Anyway, sorry. Number 8 is The Days Are Getting Colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that can warm up someone's cold and rainy day. So I picked one of my favorite books because that's what I would do if it was a cold and rainy day and I didn't know what to read. I'd pick up one of my favorites, and one of them would be Soulless by Gail Carriger. This is a steampunk urban fantasy that I just laugh all the way through. I love this book. This is, as I said, one of my favorite books of all time. She is soulless in the way that she doesn't have what considered a soul. So she is, kind of like a, like the, I can't in my brain, like there's werewolves and there's vampires, and they don't like the soulless because the soulless are able to take away the supernatural power if they touch them. So she's just hilarious because she's a spinster, and she's not, she does what she wants, but she's also trying to be very proper, but she's has things against her because she had an Italian father, so who went up and died and all this. Anyway, but it's all very funny with her interactions with one of the werewolves, and her, like, one of her best friends is a vampire. And I love this book and this series and all the books connected to it, but it's always a cozy read to me because I've read it so many times. I've already got past what happens, but I just love all the interaction. Number 9, fall returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. Mostly because everybody has been reading Mary Stuart this year, I want to keep continuing. I've only reread one of the books. I've read all the books. I've had them all. I have old copies, and I bought new ones this year. But I would really like to read My Brother Michael by Mary Stuart. This was my favorite of them when I was younger, like a teenager, when I read them all the first time. And then this one and the Moonspinners I've read multiple times, but a lot of the other ones I've only read once. But I really want to get to this one, so I have to read the ones that come before, because I'm going to read them in chronological order. So I'm hoping to pick up the second one here pretty soon. But this is the book that I would like to read. And I'd like to return to it. I like to get back into reading those more often because it has been a really long time. And then fall, number 10, fall is a perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your cozy reading accessories. So, pretty simple. I really just have a blanket that I like and my cats like. So we share the blanket on the couch. And we're pretty much, that's all I do. I admit I don't do a lot of drinking hot drinks. I'm usually still very much drinking either Coke Zero or blended coffee, because those are my thing. And other than that, and really it's just sitting on the couch with the cats. Now I have got this chair this year, so we're gonna see how this goes for the winter. I might come in here and read on nights where the TV is too distracting. So we'll see. I have a blanket for this chair as well, and a reading light that's just out of sight here, but so this could also be another cozy spot. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. But really, I don't have very many accessories. It's mostly me, the book, some lights, and a blanket, and then cats on me. And then question number 11 is to spread the autumn appreciation and tag some people. Because this tag is from last year, I know a lot of people did it last year. I know a lot of people have already done it this year. So I'm not going to tag anybody specifically, but if you want to do it, please do it. I think this is a fun tag. As I said, I just did it for the second time with different books on all the questions and in my stacks. I thought I did pretty good. So anyway, thanks to Sean for tagging me. And I hope you guys will all check out his video, and I will see you guys later. Bye.